Today, the goal is us just checking in.
Feeling like a Sims character, like I'm reliving the same day every day.
Yes, things are easier said than done, and that's my life update.
Since we already spent the first 10 episodes, declassifying our relationship, really just looking for the next direction to move into, declassify some things.
Acknowledging that we've made it 10 episodes and
Woo!
patting ourselves on the back. Yay, this is so exciting.
They say we're aging better than the Gen Zers. This is Sistas Declassified, the podcast where
Taylor
and Taryn,
your virtual sisters, share experiences, insights, and of course the juicy secrets that never leave a sister circle.
from navigating the millennial rat race to untangling the complexities of relationships.
We've got you, sis.
So shh, listen up. The declassified convos are starting now.
But it's okay.
I doubt this is going to make it in the podcast. We're going to see.
Why?
I don't know, child.
So when I hear the clips of how you edit things, is there going to be a lot of things missing?
It's not that it's going to be missing. It's like, what do people listen? It's like, will people actually sit there and listen to that?
For 2 seconds, I think. It hasn't even been a minute.
It has been 2 minutes since I started recording. Well, anywho,
I'm itching. I'm sorry. I was around a cat yesterday and it's been messing up. I'm allergic to cats. I don't know if you know that.
I
fact.
didn't know that. Why were you? Who had a cat?
My old roommate, aka
Oh.
Yes.
Right. I be forgetting Taylor's friends. I'm bad.
It's
It's not. You do.
No, just kidding. I really don't.
You do.
I just have a lot of sorority sisters.
Same difference.
Sorors. No, yeah. That's funny you say the same difference because yesterday we were talking about that in terms of like, do we see each other as friends?
Right. Just like we were saying,
Mm-hmm.
do we see each other as friends?
Or like, not obligations, because that's not the right word, but kind of similar to what we were talking about.
I mean,
And
kind of.
I was like, yeah, I think they really did make us a sisterhood.
Yeah. I feel obligated to a degree to ensure your safety and general well-being.
But not just that, but like if we fight, and we do, like we could get in arguments or we like don't like each other or for some reason, but we're able to like still stand on why we are connected to each other and either talk about that thing. I mean, sometimes we can agree to disagree and decide we'll just love each other from afar. But I think we are more open to like having the conversation about whatever was upsetting us. Maybe more now than we were in college times.
Makes sense.
Because
Maturity.
Yeah. But I think that's interesting, right? Because I feel like we're in a time period where people are so easily like, my friend pissed me off, I'm done with them. Like, cancel. Like, we talk about cancel culture. People will cancel their friends real quick.
Yeah, but I think to the point of the last episode about moving past the surface, if you have some like experiential ties or I guess value or morality ties, and you are part of a group together, whether that be a chosen group or a born group, then there's, I guess, a reason to keep the peace. Whether that be because ultimately you believe this person to be good, and so that this was just a disagreement rather than a indictment on their whole character or whatever.
And I think like the big thing that people would say is like, you don't choose your line sisters, right? It's like, yes, you wanted to join this organization to like connect with people or whatever your reason is for wanting to join, whether that's service or whatever. Like, you don't get to pick who the people are that you're doing that thing with, just like your siblings.
Right.
So you like learn to love them for whatever issues, even if they weren't somebody you would traditionally link yourself to.
Yeah, and I would say the same was true when talking about like my gymnastics teammates. There were some people I gravitated to more than others, and there were some people when they did their routine, I cheered for them, and when they were done, we were done.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Why are you laughing?
I think it is true. I think it's true. But I think as your teammate, that they at some point will no longer be your teammate.
True.
Yeah. That's the only difference. Like, obviously, AKA some people might decide after college, I'm no longer like worried about Greek life, that's a lot of people.
Which happens.
Then there's
They
a
don't
lot of
pay
other
them
people
dues.
who want to be like lifetime members, right? And so those ones are like, I don't get to choose who the lifetime members are with me.
Right.
So I have to cheer for them forever. Or I denounce and I leave, which that happens too.
Or you just cheer from the side when it's their turn.
Yeah. But Anyways, I guess that's a little part of our check-in. I was hanging out with my sorors yesterday. And it was a great time. Sorry, I clicked in the computer. But I guess today the goal is us just checking in, acknowledging that we've made it 10 episodes, and patting ourselves on the back. Yay, this is so exciting. And thank you if you made it this far with us. This is exciting for us, and I hope it's exciting for you all too. Aside from what's going on, what else has been up for you this week?
Nothing special. Just been going to work. My morning routine was not on point this week, and it shows. So that's just a reality check for me. Not that anything super unpleasant happened, but it was more specific to my energy levels. I could tell the difference when I, didn't get up on time, didn't go to bed on time, didn't make sure I had, my meals ready to go. My meals were okay, but like the time that I was eating the meals was not on track. And I think in some ways I love the idea of having a super routine life. And other ways I hate it because I'm the one who has to make the routine. And then I'm the one who has to press reset on everything in order to make the routine happen the next day. And I really have to count on evening Taryn to make morning Taryn happy. And some days it doesn't happen.
Well, does it have to be such a strict routine, or could it be that there's priorities for the day?
There are priorities for the day. The problem is that list got long. It started with drink water. Right? It started real small, and then I was like, okay, that's really small. I can do that. Then it was like, okay, then do your journaling. Most days that happens. Then it's exercise, and I would say less days. That happens less days than I would like it to. And honestly, it all sounds like my routine requires me to get up earlier than the time I've allotted. I honestly think I can do things.
You're setting an unrealistic timeline for your goal.
I think I can do things in a time frame that I have proven I cannot, but I have not changed it. And it feels like the only answer is to either move things out of the morning or wake up earlier. That feels like the only two options.
Well, can I throw a third option?
Oh my gosh.
So, because I similarly try to create, I like a good routine here, not here and there all the time. And I was beating myself up about not having all things done on the day. But I just reorganized my thought. I think I mentioned this, but I made a self-care calendar. And I put 1 or 2 things, sometimes 3, on the calendar. And I made it knowing myself. So Mondays, I have a lot of energy and, start things on Monday. So I put extra things to do on Monday. But then on Wednesday, my only task is journal. And that's it. So fine. Because that means I won't overwhelm myself with did I journal? Did I drink water? Did I do this? Did I do that? It's just journal. And doing that at the beginning of the month, acknowledging when your cycle is.
Right.
Or even when your cycle is, right? When do you have more energy? Not setting yourself up for failure. Did you read the thing I sent you, the note?
Yes, I did. It was very long. It was very long. And all those things are correct. I think I have a hard time believing that that's my only priority. I moved from only one thing as the priority because I can't balance that. I can't make that my reality. I have a hard time believing.
But acknowledging, yes, you're going to drink water. But do you need to put that on there? Do you still need to put that on your list of things to do if you already have that thing down?
No, not necessarily. I think it just depends on the season. I think my problem is there are 7 areas I want to improve on or see changes in. And I recently started a 12-week year, so this is helping a little bit in that I have 3 main buckets, but I probably didn't whittle those buckets down enough.
To month by month, what is the focus this month, or even week by week?
Well, I do have a week by week I have a week by week focus, but it's still in all the buckets, and so it's a lot of things. So my first week went horribly.
I'm trying not to be negative Nancy. Hell yeah, that sounds like those are not smart goals.
My first week went horribly.
Smart goals. If you know.
I whittled them back. But I think when it comes to things that are related to my physical or mental health, that feels like such a baseline that I am I know that those things don't count, but I need to count them because I wasn't doing them. And if that's all I can do, damn, that doesn't feel like enough.
Mm-hmm. But reality though, right? Because you're not doing those things, you can't do none of the other things. And that's why I'm bringing it back to, like, if you got down drinking water, right? Then you take that off as a responsibility because it's a habit you already have. Just like I no longer have to read a book on my habit tracker, because the fact of the matter is I'm gonna read every day. I don't need to remind myself to do that, nor do I need to check it off. So cool. Because that also doesn't make it feel like you have so many things you need to do. If you write every single thing down, you're gonna be overwhelmed.
I'd be forgetting.
I get that. So maybe it's about, where do I place my water so that I will drink it? But you don't need to write
Atomic Habits. I read Atomic Habits. I get you.
You just don't want to do that.
Well, it comes back to who has to set it up and who's resetting it every day, and like feeling like a Sims character, like I'm reliving the same day every day. Mm-hmm. And some of that is, well, majority of that is by choice, but some of that is also because like the routine keeps me stable, but it'd be boring.
Do you think that other people don't do the same thing every day?
It's not that I don't think other people don't do that. It's like sometimes I have moments where I'm like, this is life.
Well, and that's where, but I think that's where like my little self-care calendar comes in, because I make sure I added like family day, right? So us going to Rock and Jump last week was on there, because not only is that a task I needed to do, but it was a task I could be like happy about doing. Mm-hmm. And something you could look forward to. So like, okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were the exact same, but hey, Saturday's gonna be a real one, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Or like, what little thing can I add that makes this day not feel like exactly like yesterday?
Your words make sense.
But doing it.
It's the doing, but also like the feelings don't necessarily change.
Mm-hmm.
Or they don't change immediately. I can be present in a moment that I enjoy, but if I am not in a moment that I enjoy, then I am open to thinking about all sorts of other anxiety-inducing emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Am I doing? Sorry, I know we're getting.
I know you're like diving into.
We'll do it
my
later.
whole life.
We'll talk about it later.
Gosh,
I know. I think actually that's supposed to be our topic for next week. It's like, yeah, that. But that's how Taryn's doing. She's working on habits.
It's like 10 minutes.
It's a check-in episode.
I know, but I just meant 10 minutes about me.
Well, tell Taryn that was a good conversation, because you're not the only person that has problems with creating habits. I also have problems creating habits, but just not like self-care. Mm-hmm. So I could say these same things to myself for like all my business aspirations, because I have a lot, and I've had a lot for about 5 years, and there's no business. So, I mean, yeah, I think things are easier said than done. Mm-hmm. And that's my life update. I have 5 business ideas and no business. So I'm working on that. But this is
business one.
This is business one. So look, I'm doing something. Well, not really, sort of. This is business one, but I don't think of this as business.
Okay.
But maybe I should. I don't know. We'll find out.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Yes. Oh my gosh, side note. I started watching CSI again last night. I haven't watched it in a long time.
Las Vegas?
Well, but before it was Vegas, it was just CSI.
CSI, yes.
So yes.
Okay.
I didn't remember how it started.
And you forgot how good it was?
Well, I was just like, I don't think I've sat and, I rewatch every show I've ever watched. I don't think I've ever rewatched CSI.
I don't see how that's possible. I'm currently on New York. That's why I asked you which one you were on.
Yeah. So, fun fact. Our grandma really likes CSI. Well, criminal shows. Like law shows.
I was going to say all the whodunits.
Even Gunsmoke, though, was kind of a law show.
Not kind of. It definitely was.
Oh, yeah. So, she likes
the whodunits.
The bad guy stuff. So, we also like bad guy stuff.
I think it's because stories are generally easy to follow. There's usually a little twist, but if you're paying attention, you get it, and the good guys win.
But also, if you're not paying attention, you get it, too. I think that's the other thing. I do think it's like a nostalgic and comfort show, but I also just think that shows are so bad now that I have to go back and be entertained by old shows that were good.
Bad in what ways?
I feel like the acting's not good. And I think maybe I'm just getting old.
I was gonna say, I think you might be getting old.
When I'm at work, I'm like, oh my God, I'm old. But
you are.
Yeah, I sound like Papa, and I'm saying like they repeat the same stories. The stories are not new, which has obviously been true since before we were born.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just very much feeling like the actors aren't good, the story's not good.
If you go back and watch some of the Disney Channel,
I know, but I knew the acting wasn't good in those shows. I don't go back and rewatch that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm. I rewatch like sitcoms, criminal shows.
But I'm saying some of the sitcoms had bad acting.
Not Disney sitcoms, though.
Which Disney sitcoms are you talking about?
I'm talking about black people sitcoms.
Okay, so which one?
Had good acting?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of them had good acting.
Name one.
Like Family Matters, like Fresh Prince, those had good acting. Like, some people would like break the fourth wall in like the comedy type shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever, fine. But those shows were supposed to be funny, so it was fine when they did it.
Okay. All right.
Versus like, no offense to Zendaya, I love her, but think about Shake It Up or something.
When you said Disney, that's exactly
No,
what came to
Disney.
mind. Okay.
I said sitcoms. And you were like, those Disney shows? I didn't know nothing about it.
That's because I was just thinking, and I love me some Zendaya, but...
Her acting's definitely come a long way.
Oh, leaps and bounds.
But yeah, Shake It Up. But it wasn't her fault. That was the story. That's
and also, she was a child. Like, all the things.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we got here.
Them Disney shows was not it.
But anyway, our goal of being here today was overall just to help us to check in with you guys, check in with ourselves, see how we feel about how the podcast is going, and better guide like how we're going to move forward. Because we were talking about how we were going to foster connection and how that was important to us. Now we want to talk about what's important to us. So whether that's like health or wellness, mental health, like we kind of got into today, whether that's bringing people on to help educate us on things that we're trying to be better at, or maybe things that you might be trying to be better at.
We're really just looking for the next direction to move into, declassify some things.
Yeah.
Since we already spent the first 10 episodes, declassifying our relationship a little bit, we now want to declassify the things in the world that we, I guess, want to learn more about with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess what you can maybe expect is us talking more about, like, not just relationships and our dynamic, but, like, society. Society and, like, cultural challenges, or what it's like to be a millennial at this time period. Being 30 when you maybe think, like, you're supposed to be somewhere else in your life, but you're not at that place. How do you navigate those things? Being an adult when you feel like you're still in 9th grade.
They say we're aging better than the Gen Zers.
But it's because they want to look like us already.
I know.
Which, I don't know. I really go back and forth. I was talking to somebody yesterday about, like, our style and, like, whether I'm still dressing like a high schooler or the high schoolers dressing like me.
As someone...
throwing away all my crop tops.
As someone who readily dresses like the high schooler she wished she was, it's definitely us still dressing like high schoolers.
Okay. I don't think I dress like the high schooler I wish I was, though.
I do. I'm not saying you
like
do.
You do for yourself, yeah.
I also think society, especially for women, doesn't do a great job of presenting us a middle ground. You're either a teenager or a young, sexy, hot, young adult, or you're a mother and old. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no...
But also, like...
There's no 30 in between.
Right. And I also think people don't think, like, the average woman is interesting.
What do you mean?
So, like, we can't show up as, like, ourselves and see that online, I feel like, because, yeah, people aren't entertained by the average person.
I don't... You mean, like, in terms of their looks?
Their looks, how they show up, what's interesting to them. Like, I feel like only women who, like, talk about beauty content and, like...
So you mean we only want to hear from women in certain spaces?
Yes.
Got it. I would say that that's societally still true.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of what we're navigating a little bit. It's like, how can we show up? And maybe sometimes we want to show up as like what society deems as interesting and entertaining and worth talking about, or like worthy of admiration.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, I don't know, our conversations might talk about what happens when you aren't what society has deemed as like worthy of attention. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think so.
You're confused.
A little.
Okay, like I think at some point we touched on, I think maybe it was in episode 1 or 2, like desire to be perceived as sexy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? And I feel like in our next, as we pivot, I think we can acknowledge, like, just because we're not seen as what society would deem as sexy, or what society would deem as super smart, or whatever the case may be, that doesn't mean like our conversations don't have value.
I got you now. Yes. So when you were talking about being average, you literally meant like we hear from the exceptional, but not necessarily from the everyday.
Yes.
And so the conversations we hope to have are the everyday conversations with people maybe in the same place as us, or maybe people hoping to be in the same place as us, or people hoping to reflect on a similar situation. I got you now.
Mm-hmm.
And agree.
Sorry, guys. Sometimes I think my brain goes in like 3 different directions at once, and so then I'm trying to communicate or explain my thought, and it goes like here and there and there.
Well, maybe the audience got it and I didn't.
No.
You never know.
A lot of times people look at me like, I'm like, okay, let me re-explain. But yeah, I think overall that's our goal, and we hope that you'll continue to listen and enjoy our conversations. And if there's things that you think that we are missing from fostering connection or creating long-lasting relationships, let us know, and we can dive into those topics too. And yeah, we'll just continue to share insight and be vulnerable, not just about our traumas like we talked about, but also about our wins and hopes for the future and all that good stuff.
Yes, and I'm just going to double down. This won't work. Well, it won't work as well if we don't hear from you. So please let us know the topics you'd like for us to declassify moving forward.
Yes, and also we'd like for our declassification to become a theme in our conversations and in this podcast a little more, because we want you to recognize that we are trying to have conversations that maybe everyone isn't having on a day-to-day. Like, I think people have them on their podcast platforms, and that's cool. But we're trying to really encourage you to have these conversations in real life with the people around you.
Just like we started to by turning on the camera.
Yeah, because there might be things you need to unpack, or things that maybe unpack isn't the right word, but just things maybe you had to get off your chest, or something someone else might need to too, and you didn't even know it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it helps you gain perspective, because unless you talk about it, the only perspective you have is your own and what you assume of others.
And you know what they say about assumptions. So,
is that it for today?
Yeah, I think today was just short and sweet. We just wanted you to know where we're going and our hopes. And
that we made it to 10 episodes.
Woo-woo. I don't know. Can you put air horn down? All right.
Explosion, explosion, explosion.
And on that note, bye.